Welcome back to Signals on 91.3. Well, Signals Marketplace will continue next week, Saturday. Well, this morning, very special thanks to Moremi Elekwachi. Ha, she will not kill me. I got it. Now, I have an award-winning, multifaceted professional interior designer, strategist, and developer, armed with a relentless passion for design. She makes a living from creating harmonious and beautiful spaces with the aim of enhancing lifestyle with the right touch of luxury and finesse. She is the founder and creative director at Teal, an interior design firm based in Nigeria with expertise in renovation, 2D, 3D design, space planning, fit-outs, furniture sourcing and production, interior decoration, fine art sourcing, and project management. As a lead designer at Teal, she manages business operations, defines business strategies, and provides design direction for projects. With about 10 years experience as a business developer across several notable business sectors, a strategic planning and knowledge and experience, along with a highly creative thought process, makes a force to be reckoned with in the interior design industry. I have with me, and the discussion we're having this morning is Teal. Teal is in my mouth. I have with me, we're discussing art and art, and I have with me Folakemi Oloye. Oloye. Don't send me back. Don't send me back. Now, welcome to Signals on 91.3.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. And we're going to be speaking nice English.
We'll see.
We'll try.
Yes, because you know me, I'm from Owo, so sometimes.
Akure?
Yes, it works, and sometimes
like,
it doesn't.
I just have to enter that space. Now we're discussing art, and I saw there's a project you're working on coming up, and yeah, I went to go and be searching, and I saw it, and I'm like, Teal, okay. Now with art means different things to different people. And before we came on there, I was saying that my love for art started. My father likes a lot of art. Yeah, he has to. Don't worry. Let's be here. My father loves art, and I did know what your father were that you would break his artworks and all of that. And for some reason, when people see artworks, when people see designs, they think it's so expensive that it's exclusive to some people. Tell us why. It's not that exclusive.
It's so one of the things about art that I find is, it's our experiences are based on myths. They're based on other people telling us what their experience are, and not necessarily our own individual experiences. Art is creativity. It's an expression, and it's expression in all its forms. And everybody expresses arts in different way, because at the end of the day, anything that makes you create, you're already expressing. And it could be from visual art, it could be from musical art, it could be from any aspect of art that you choose to express. Now to say that art is expensive is like saying music is expensive.
Because sometimes when you see an artwork, they'll tell you is some 100 years old and it's very vintage.
Absolutely, because you need to honor the artist. You need to honor their expertise, their skill, the time they've put into it. You need to honor the years of experience. So yes, that kind of art will be expensive, but then there is beautiful art that is not as expensive. It's a function of getting something that connects with you. So at the end of the day, I don't think that we should stereotype it into
an elite way.
No, it's not.
Now, when you see an artwork, some say if you draw rubbish, well, no, not rubbish. If you put brush to a canvas and you just do zigzag, somebody will read meaning to it and it will sell in millions. And I'm wondering, is there a different lens to seeing designs?
So there definitely a different lens to seeing designs. One of the things about art that I know is that art has energy. And we are all, we're all spiritual beings. We have energy inside of us. And so it's that energy that makes us to connect to some things. Okay. You see something, you connect to it. You see another thing and you're just like, oh, I don't get it. And somebody else will be going all crazy about it. So it's super subjective. And that's why at the end of the day, it's a function of you. Now, when you talk about, what makes one art more expensive than the other, honestly, A lot of times it's the person's craftsmanship, it's the amount of time they've put into honing that skill. It's like you want to hire a professional, at different cadres of their life, their art will speak differently and will command different prices.
Results.
Exactly. So if I were still like as an interior designer when I started out, the amount of experience I'd put in, there was no way I could have commanded some kind of prices that I can ask for now. So also there's expertise, there's how much work that person has put into it. And a lot of these artists are professionally trained. So they go to school for it, they have masters that they learn under. It's a lot of hard work that's been put into it, and they're definitely deserving
of that money, of
Yes.
that deserving of that price.
Very deserving.
I was about to say dollars, but I'm like, I remember that I'm in Nigeria, so you
Yeah,
have
in
to
Nigeria.
Now,
Nigeria.
with your love started for interior design, I was reading your profile and I'm wondering, so this space, what would
I've done.
Folakemi done with this space? When you see spaces, empty spaces, what comes to you?
So when I see empty spaces, a lot of times it's a blank canvas. It
Okay.
means that it's opportunity, it is room, it is space, and it's something to fill, and not fill with just unnecessary things, but it's how do we make it even better useful to the person that is occupying it. And also, spaces spaces are not what would I call it, they're not in isolation of the individual. The individual that is occupying the space plays a very big part in how you think about a space, because the way I would live here or the way I would work here is very different from the way you would work here. So for starters, because I see that you enjoy standing, I would have done a higher table that makes it easier for you to reach things and your body ergonomics. So by the end of day, you don't feel any form of pain in
Back
your shoulder.
pain.
Yes, I can tell that you're gonna likely have those.
Oh yes, plenty. Like I'm trying to stretch and not stretch.
So pretty much it's individualized. For me now, we're having this interview and I'm sitting down. So this will work for me. So at the end of the day, space is a function of the person that is also going to use it, occupy it.
Now, 10 years down the line,
Yes.
I'm wondering, did you enjoy this so much?
I've had some love and hate days.
Some PTSD days when
Oh
you
my
decided
goodness.
that no.
Just about a month ago, I was in a gathering where we had other interior designers, and it was hosted by another interior designer. She just felt like it would be good for us to hang out together and share minds. And as we're talking, I said, "Oh my God, like I've had some PTSD moments, where I'm just like, you know what, take me out of here. I'm not sure this is what I'm called to." But there are so many moments where you wake up in the day and you're just really excited and grateful for the opportunity.
Now, with the interior decoration space in Nigeria, are we really thriving?
I don't know that we're thriving.
Okay.
I know that we are trying our best. We're making the best of all the resources that are made available to us.
Okay.
In terms of thriving, I think thriving will be overreaching. It's
Okay.
it will be a little bit too much. But for interior design, are there opportunities there? And wherever there are opportunities, it just also means that maybe there are some things that are not done well that needs to be improved on and can be refined on. But yeah, but I would say that as an industry, we're young. The interior design industry in Nigeria is very young. It's of recent that people are beginning to get an appreciation from it. Remember when we were growing up, interior designer will come and do your home. What's that?
Everybody will arrange their spaces by themselves.
Like, what are you coming to do? You want to come and advise me on cutting?
No.
Is it that you know more than me? Do you understand what I mean? And but what's happening is that we're having a generation of people that are understanding, and especially when you're in the city, there's so much that is taking your time that you realize that
You want to come home.
Yes, you want to come home and you want to outsource some of that problem and headache. And so yeah.
So there's some people who like, and I'm sure that you've, I'm very, very sure, 100% sure that you've met people who like their spaces very loud,
Yeah.
and who like minimalist design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, I have met quite a few, but one of the things that when I started out, I used to take on everything because, like I said, design is a function of the person, right? So if the person wanted something that was like, maybe royal or very classical, I will take it on. And I may not have done a great job with it. But as I've gotten more refined in my skill, I know the things that I gravitate towards. Now, you know, different people, some people will say minimalist, but what I find a lot of times in Nigeria is when they say minimalist, they don't really mean minimalist.
really?
They,
Tell me.
they definitely don't mean minimalist. Minimalist means that that thing that is placed there must only be functional. It can serve aesthetic, but it must be functional. And sometimes some things are not overly functional, but they are also necessary to make a room feel like a home or feel like a useful space. Do you get what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
so it doesn't just feel so solitary. And sometimes we put things in a space to help even with sound. I can see your acoustics going on, the walls, padding, everything. So you can imagine in a home, we say we want a minimalist, and then maybe, we just put a thin shade to to cover the sun. But then that shade that you've put, that window treatment that you've put, is not also helping with sound. So every time you speak in the room,
There's echo.
there's echo. So at the end of the day, I feel like we talk about minimalist in such a
Bougie
general,
kind of
yes,
way.
because we feel like that's cool. But as a people, as Africans,
Are we really
we
that
are not
minimalist?
we're not a minimalist people.
Ah.
We're not.
Because now that we're having a conversation, it reminds me that you see some certain chairs, they're very, they call them talkie chairs. They're very bing bing.
Yeah.
Some set of tribe like that. For some others, they don't like. That's a lot of noise. So, and to ask you that, because we've grown up in a noisy environment, because because we've grown up in a noisy environment, does that determine the kind of show off? Because we're show off people,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
So does that mean that we wanted to know that when they come to our house like this,
They must recognize.
we have arrived.
They must know.
They must know.
Abby, how will they know?
Yeah, and then when you go to some spaces, it's just very demure,
Understated.
very hard to
Yeah.
get there. Ha! A job, right? It looks very there, but is it our mindset, our environment plays?
Absolutely. Our mindset plays a huge aspect to how we reflect our lives and our living. So a lot of times, and I hear you when you say that, and I think it's not just a Nigerian thing, I think it's a black people thing. I think black people love to show off. You'll see that.
They
And
won't
it's
go.
not, no, it's not even just that, but we're also people of expression. When you see a black person, we're people of color. If you look back at when, older generations, you see we had tribal marks, we have texture. Our life is rich. We're not like a very bare. Yes.
Yeah.
We're not a very. Look at our Ankara. Our Ankara has pattern, color. You know
The
what I
France
mean?
president had to wear Ashwebi to just show that.
You see what I mean? Like, so
And
that
it was
I see
so
how
beautiful.
beautiful he
It
looks.
was so beautiful.
My point
It
exactly.
was so beautiful. So that brings me to how then do we make noise without making noise? And you know what I'm talking about, where it's still expression, but it's not overly to
Too
the top.
loud.
Yeah.
So I think that at the end of the day, if let's say, and I don't know if it is noise, you get what I mean, but like if you want to, fully live and fully be, it's still based on the person and what means fully live to that person. Some people would like it very nicely understated, and some people will want like a little bit of something. It could come from a function of like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be gold. It's in terms of like the choices. It could be from maybe material choice that calls to you. It could be from a color choice. It could be from a varied number of things. You understand what I mean? So when it comes to like, I feel like for me, first and foremost, I'll tell you straight up. And recently I found out that was what I was. that's what I am. I'm a maximalist.
There is meaning, there is maxi.
There's minimalism, there's maximalism.
Okay.
I love maximalism. Maximalism talks about layering and putting, and it's not a crowded thing, but it's just that there is expression. And why should I tone it down? Why should I like go under or hide it? Why? If it makes me happy, if it makes my heart sing, why not? And even when you think about like, maybe the outfit I'm wearing, it's got like multiple Ankara patterns. This outfit makes me super happy. I really love it,
It's demure inside.
It's demure inside. So at the end of the day, it's so individualized in terms of what shows wealth to you is different from what shows wealth to another person, because another person may feel like gold is what shows wealth. Another person may say, I don't want gold. I want it in the quality, in the craftsmanship of the work. And that's what shows influence and affluence, and that's what makes them happy. So
it's a mixed match.
It's a mixed match.
It's a mixed match.
It
Now,
so much.
someone is listening and saying that, okay, Folakemi, how do I not break a bank? Because these are very, very expensive.
Tell me about it.
So what's the starting budget? Right? No, let's just try. I know that the someone I wanted somebody to help design an office space, and the person said consultation fee is 100K, and I said, it's okay. Google, where are you? Right? And because that's somebody's business.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, how do I not break a bank?
I think that if you don't want to break a bank, you may want to definitely explore DIY. Yes, you want to explore that, and it's not
DIY into a dark place.
No, but you see, I love what you said. You said Google, so you can use Google. You can look at images and begin to see, okay, what are the things I'm drawn to and what are the things I'm not drawn to. For example, we're currently holding a yard sale that is happening today and tomorrow, and the yard sale, it means that there's no designer helping you, and it means that
pick it by yourself.
You pick it by yourself. It could be furniture that maybe has a scratch or a small dent. It could be something that's got like a tiny weeny stain. It could be something that maybe was used a little bit but not used as much. In Nigeria, I feel like sometimes we think of fairly used as like, oh my God, very tabooish. We don't want anybody to know.
Fairly used fairly used is okay. The cluster, because as you were speaking about it, I'm like,
exactly. So why are we, we feel like maybe it has to be new, it has to be all of that. For the yard sale, we do have new things. We have quite a number of new things. But when we're talking about on a budget, it means that we need to start rethinking things. We don't have to always look at things. And maybe sometimes it's digging deeper in creativity, not necessarily looking at the things that are readily available, because those would be more expensive.
Yeah.
But it means that you would have to do some of that work. So you can research, you can come to our yard sale, come and buy deals. You can, and there are also declutter services on Instagram, on, any of the social media, that you can buy maybe one lamp, one chair, something. One thing that I find that works very well is just buying a beautiful greenery in your space. It's not expensive. You don't go and buy the imported ones. Buy something nice.
Plant.
Yes. So buying a nice plant. Putting it will change the look of the space, and you would do that very nicely, maybe under 50,000. So there's some things that one needs to start rethinking. Really, we need to just rethink how we're approaching things if we're looking for on a budget.
The signals on 91.3 before I grill you. If you have questions, comment. We're discussing art and art with Folakemi Oloye. Ha. Yoruba.
It's okay. It's because the O's have an accent.
No, it just reminds me of, I was coming back yesterday and I said, my name is Oshodi. They were like, no, we're not going to Oshodi. I'm like,
no, I said that's my name.
Now, Signals 91.3. If you have questions and comments for our guest, you can please call us 0809 234 5913, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0809 234 5913. Now, when you think of colors, what are colors to you?
Hmm. When I think of colors,
Your Ankara was
I
what
think of
caused me to ask the color question.
when I think of color, I see color as life. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see color as something, or maybe life may be a bit too strong, but I see color like hope. You know, you can graduate it into deeper, more saturated. You can tone it down, and I see color as hope. I see color as an opportunity for clarity. I see color as something that can even invigorate, that can give energy. So color is so diverse in all of its uses. And generally I see it as hope.
Favorite color?
So my favorite color is blue, and teal happens to be a shade of blue. Yes. So one of the things about color for me as well is I don't really like direct colors, where it's just
Blue, black,
blue or green or
white.
You understand? It's not like there's anything wrong with that. It's just that sometimes it just doesn't allow enough expression. Color is multi-layered, and there's so much variety to it. So
She's wearing color.
I am wearing color.
Now, mixing and matching different design styles. So when you have a client, walk me through your thought process.
In terms of mixing design styles?
Yes, that's one.
Okay.
And when you get a project.
Okay. So in terms of mixing design styles, there are some design styles that I lean towards that I really love. I love, and I like to mix. I feel like if you want to have a space that is interesting, and you use just one design style, you create something that is just a little bit, I think it's not, it can be just very
Some of us just like white.
mono. Yes, and I've had a client like that.
Yeah.
And there was nothing I didn't do to try to convince him. I kept saying, sir, let's add it like this. But what I then did for people that like white, what makes it interesting is to create texture. So layer textures, would do from smooths to linens to weaves to silk. Once you layer the texture, then it feels warm. Because the problem with white as well is that it can feel very sterile. Like you come into a space and it's just like, oh my God, you need to be pristine. You need to stand straight. You can't just sit down on the chair. You can't put your foot on the rug. Like you're living in texture. But when you create layers, when you move textures, then you begin to create warmth into white. Now, in terms of mixing design styles, yes, you should. But in terms of mixing design styles, there are 3 design styles that I lean to. The first one that I really like is Art Deco. So I love the Art Deco style majorly because it has personality. You cannot have something that is Art Deco in a space and it will not be a conversation starter. And you can't just overlook it and not say you didn't see it. You would have seen it. So I love Art Deco. I love neoclassical. I like neoclassical because it's grounded, but as much as it's grounded, it's got like more texture to it. So and I'm a texture person to start with. So I like neoclassical, and then I like Afropolitan. So when I do the spaces, I love, love, love to have contemporary African style. I love African style because I realize that a lot of times, it's a cultural thing. It's our heritage, and we need to be the ones to celebrate it. And it's our own. It's beautiful in all its shapes and sometimes imperfection, but it is ours, So I love to mix these 3 styles in different proportions, depending also on the clients, how they feel towards it. Some people have a lot more African, some people have a lot more, neoclassical contemporary style, and some people have a lot more Art Deco, but pretty much you would see a bit of one of the styles in whatever we propose.
Tell me about your dream project that you hope to work.
My dream project.
Yes. And she's excited about it.
Oh my goodness. First, let me lay the foundation.
No, the texture foundation first.
Not even texture foundation. Foundation is no budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's
Foundation.
go. Open
Foundation,
check. Blank check.
Foundation is let's go to town. Woof. Foundation is also someone that is willing to explore. Not necessarily play it safe, but willing.
Wild.
Yeah, not wild, not wild. I don't know how to even do wild. Honestly, that's the truth. It's not strength. Um, but somebody that is willing to explore, not necessarily play it safe, and then we can push some boundaries. And so what would that look like? That would probably be a residential project.
Somebody's house.
Somebody's house, potentially a penthouse that is grand, or a village house, something in the home, like a country home, that has multiple levels and gives.
Speaking of country homes, there are a lot of country homes lying around that but nobody wants to go there.
I don't blame them. When you think about the insecurity in Nigeria, the cost of transport as well, it's not as encouraging. Sometimes I think that those things have just moved us to now become city people. And when you think about the investments in it for a house that you're going to stay maybe once a year, sometimes you're just like, maybe not. I know.
Outside of Lagos is peaceful.
It is peaceful, don't get me wrong.
It is very peaceful. The air is clean.
Tell me about it.
Oh God.
And because I come from our pounded yam is.
No.
When you eat it, you will know that there's pounded yam and there's pounded yam.
Well, do you know how to pound yam?
Yes. How can you know how to eat something and not know how to do it?
I can eat it,
but you don't know
for how?
No, I do know how to pound.
Where? You have gotten more fun because you can pound yam. Wait, pound what?
I do.
No, and I think the reason why I cannot pound what? My mom was always pounding, and they'll be no,
because we're going to eat it and put it like.
I
you will pound it. That's raw. You take time.
No way. But you can pound. I will eat, but pound what?
So in my house, one of the rules was if you don't pound, you don't eat.
That's mommy's rule, Abby.
Yes. So imagine my brothers will do their own pounded yam, and you will see particles inside, and that's how they're gonna eat it. So if you feel like pounded yam, you better know how to pound it.
No, we are not pounding anything. No. Now, how important is lightning to your work?
I don't. Design is not complete without lightning, and lightning from artificial to natural lighting.
Okay.
You must know how light heats colors and how light can change color. You can plan a design. It's one of the reasons why during our art exhibition and with the space we use, we're very conscious about the amount of natural light that comes in, because when the artist is working, he works under a light, and he wants the true hue of the color that he put there to show.
Sure.
Now, when you use different lighting, it changes the color or the nature of that thing. So lighting is very important. It's understanding it, and sometimes even from a functional place to a decorative place. And lighting is something that helps even with your mood. You can create it. Lighting is also something that can help you settle, that can make you sleep, that can make you calm down, that can turn it down.
The moment you hear your siren from Nepal, you're happy. Everything's okay.
That one is power, not lighting.
Okay, power.
Yeah, that one is power. That is okay. Lights can come on and off. But with lighting, it is that you can create multi-layer lighting and create it in such a way that as it goes through the day, it follows even the circadian light rhythm, and it helps with your mood. So as you wake up in the morning, the kind of light you wake up with matters. As you go through the day, the type of light that you work with matters. As you get into evening, where your body begins to settle down, the lighting also matters. And as you go into sleep, the lighting also matters. So it's an intentional process, and I don't think that there's any design without it.
Now that you're speaking of the kind of lights we wake up with, a lot of us wake up with our phone lights and go to bed with
the
our
phone lights. Yes, it's the very worst. The very worst. And even if you were going to do that, you should have some other lights on. Yes, you should have some other lights on to help balance that amount of blue light that you're consuming here.
It signals on 91.3. We're having a very beautiful conversation with Folakemi Oloye.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Because how do I explain that I am
So maybe the way to look at it is, oh yeah, is a matan.
Oloye?
Now you got it.
Thank you. Because the rate at which my Yoruba and English is not functioning. Yeah, I'm playing the film. Signals on 91.3. We're discussing with Folakemi Oloye, and if you have questions, comments, you can send us a WhatsApp message 0809 234 5913. You can also call 0809 234 5913. If you're wondering who's giving me the energy of this morning, at our YouTube page, Young Cerebral, YOUNG CEREBRAL and now, should we go for a short break or should I continue? Let me go for this short break, and when we come back, we'll have more questions for her. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, please let me pass water. That was interesting though. I don't feel too bad. Even though I was so afraid, I'm like, oh God.
Thou shalt not be afraid. Welcome back to Signals on 91.3. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing art and art with Folakemi Oloye. Yeah, it went smooth. Well, questions, comments 0809 234 5913. Send us a WhatsApp message 0809 234 5913. Now, we're discussing art exhibition with professional artists. What have you, and I'm sure that you work with different professional artists. What do you see that unifies all of them? Because number one, they've gone to school, it is real time work. So now that holiday is coming and children are painting, because those colors, the brushes are expensive. So that when our parents and uncles and aunties are saying, "Oh, I'm an artist," they'll not look at you like Joshua Makomo. Now, what's the unifying thing with all of them?
I think one of the major unifying things is a decision.
Okay.
When you have decided that, you know what, this is a career path I want to take and it's not a hobby.
Okay.
And that's one thing that separates, because what happens with a lot of people is like, you know, sometimes they teeter and they'll try it and like, oh, well,
it's not working.
The money didn't come through. And all of that, and also understandable because it does take time for you to be able to build, to, you know, so, but you have to have a commitment. As with anything, you know, if you decide that, you know what, this is the one thing I want to be known for and I want to be really good at, what they say, if you spend 10,000 hours, you become an expert in it. So you need to actually really, truly commit to it. Yes.
What kind of artwork would you love to buy?
I think for me, I wouldn't say there's one in particular. I buy what I connect with, and you know, as I evolve as a person, my taste also evolves. And sometimes, depending on the space where I am as a person, in terms of maybe mentally, the art I want today will differ from the art I want tomorrow. But whatever the art that I'm getting, it would always be something that connects with me, you know, that I'm grateful for and drives, you know, home whatever it is that I'm looking for in the moment.
Are there design styles that you feel is fading away?
Design styles. So that's the thing. The thing about design styles is that, you know, as what do I call it?
So I asked that because they'll say this is new style. Another generation will come and pick it up again and refine it.
It's design styles is like fashion, right?
Okay.
And what that means is that at a point in time, you know, things come back and they move out. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes what happens is you're moving through life and the need drives trends. The need is the one that will drive trend. and that trend can form a new style. And so sometimes what happens is because of the evolving, and at the time it would affect what design style will seem to be in vogue and not in vogue. So at the end of the day, something that felt old school could end up being
New
the
school.
trend today, because it's the need of the environment of the people at the time that will define design style. Sometimes your environment as well, because your environment can determine what works and what doesn't, because you want to make sure that, so for example, let's look at what do they call that, the industrial style and the industrial ages. At the time you had a lot of steel workers, and a lot of them were working in warehouses. They had these massive warehouses.
They had to go.
And then now still workers, then we discovered oil, and then the steel workers were not as
efficient as
before. And so a lot of those warehouses became available.
Became
but in becoming available, it then became, what can we now do
with the space?
And so you had a lot of like exposed beams. You have like your wires in cable trays. A lot, you could see all the workings in the ceiling. And when you think about it, how do you start cutting those ceilings?
That's
and
a
so
lot
that
of re-engineering.
Yes, and so that also now informed a style. And even when you think about minimalism, a lot of it came from like the Scandinavian countries. And a lot of the Scandinavian countries, when you think even about their lifestyle,
it's quite different.
Very different. They're very utilitarian. It needs to be functional, because they don't have the richness we have
here
in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, trend, and now when you think about it, a lot of the trend that we see now, we're looking at people that everybody's busy. So because people are busy, you're looking at materials that are easy to clean. And so that's why you see a lot of engineered woods. It's quick, it's fast. Everybody's like quickly doing, everybody's busy. So you see that a lot of things are now being used with PVC, plastics. That's forming a trend. After a while, we don't know what's going to come that would be a need, because, it's the people, the environment that will now say, and that will now innovate. It will cause innovation, and that innovation can now lead to a trend. So at the end of the day, it's just so much evolving, but then it's people and environment that are driving what becomes in style and what's not in style anymore.
So what's innovation to you? What's creativity to you?
Beautiful. I think that, so a lot of times for me, creativity is solution. Creativity is expression. Creativity is coming up with something that may not have existed before. Innovation to me is something that exists. We're trying to see, how can we make it faster? How can we make it cheaper? And how can we do it in a way that, it's never been done before? So a lot of times you're innovating on something that already exists. But with creativity, it can come from nothing. It could be that you're creating something that never existed before. Yeah.
Now walk me through, you go to a house, and all the houses that they are building now, they now have small windows.
Oh my goodness. What of the space?
And the spaces are as tiny as, and I'm wondering what exactly is going on. And
like, why? Life cannot be like this now.
The rooms are tiny.
If you roll too much, you hit the wall.
And then there's no cupboard.
Yes. Or they put two tiny things. They're like, that cannot even take my tops alone. So I hear you.
How do you design those kind of, because it's called awkward spaces, awkward rooms?
Yes.
Like Lagos developers. I was out of.
I don't know if it's Lagos developers. It's not their fault.
I hope the Lagos developers don't go outside. I was out of Lagos for a while, and I saw the rooms, and I'm like, this room.
This is how we grew. This is
how we grew.
Yeah, this is the life. The space.
There was so much space that.
And space is so important.
But how do we educate? Yeah, that's the word.
How do we educate? So
that is not just money, because the rooms are so tiny and they're overly expensive, annoyingly Oshodi expensive.
But the thing about developers as well is a market thing. It's the market.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, but it's market forces that drive, supply and demand now.
We'll soon live in one room.
And honestly, it's not impossible that we may end up getting the supply and demand that drives those things. Everybody wants to stay in a nice eyebrow area. A lot of the lands is expensive. They need to recover the cost of building, cost of the land itself. So at the end of the day, it's a market force thing. I don't know that I can say that how would I, if I were going to develop a project or build a project, how I would do it is very different. But then because of what I do, I look at houses from inside out and not from outside in, which happens because a lot of times people look at houses from outside in. You see a house looks really beautiful on the outside, you get in, and it's just been treated very very shabbily. But in terms of having an awkward space or having a space that's small and how to use it, one thing that is very big and we discuss as a team is how do we do multi-layer storage, which is making furniture, more built-in furnitures, making furnitures that can dual purpose. So it could be a set that's got a storage in it, because at the end of the day, that's the room that you have. And you have the things that you have. So how do we then ensure, and a lot of it is also organizing, but creating multifunctional pieces.
Thank you very much. My time is up. Yes.
That's such a lovely time.
Thank you. Now, the art exhibition coming up, what should we expect to see? What should we see?
So the art exhibition coming up is called Art Unmasked. And what the exhibition is, we have 4 artists that we're exhibiting. We have Teal, we have Usman Semiu, we've got Shegu Akaino, and then we've got Omolola Koka.
So it's free to come.
It is free to come, and the way we've done it, we've layered it in such a way that different people will enjoy different things when they come in. For Art Unmasked, we're creating a space, a safe space for people that don't feel like they know much about art, but they love art, they like to see it, and it gives you room to be able to enjoy and just be yourself.
When is it coming up?
It started on Friday and it ends on Tuesday. So we're open today, tomorrow, up until Tuesday. So come to Art Unmasked, come and experience art in its beauty. And we have it in art in different forms. We have sculptures, we have oils on canvas, acrylic, like in different mediums. And come and see this artist show art in a way and see, and wonder what could they have been thinking, what could they have been going through, why did they express in
Come and see
manner.
Nigeria, come and help Nigeria to grow.
Yes! More importantly.
Yes. Till we come your way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayomide. Thank you, Folakemi.
Thank you so much.
Oloye. Sorry.
Oloye. It's okay.
Oloye, till we come your way again next week, Saturday, like we
Thank
always
you.
say on Signals. Dream again, create opportunities for people. And because people will be people, keep creating opportunities.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful week and God bless. Okay.
Thank you.
Oshodi. You know when you
And the one my lovely Robert. How did we really do?
I am on radio. Mo tó ìbò lọ́wọ́, mo ń bọ̀. Yes.